Welcome back. If you're just joining us, you're still on the POLITY, reaching you from our Abuja studios. Over a year ago, we had cash scarcity due to the, of course, that was a ripple effect due to most of the changes that happened with our new Naira note and, of course, the old Naira notes. And one would think that a year and a half later, we would have passed or crossed this bridge, rather. But then it looks like this issue is still ongoing on the POLITY. This and many more is what we'll be talking about today with Dr. Yahuza Getso. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Lizzie. Thank you for having me. Good. Fine.
All right, because I always say it's safe to actually ask people how they are given the current economy right now.
Yeah, but you know, one thing about Nigerians is, you know, you hardly understand it from our faces. Okay. It is more or less in our psychology and psychomotic activities of day to day. But Nigerians have been enduring, otherwise something could have happened. But Nigerians are still struggling. But I hope our leaders will open their eyes and learn lessons from what happens in other countries. Okay. Because once you keep pushing a snake to the ditch, definitely by the time it will turn through the other side, it will definitely bite you. And that bite will be entirely different from the one that you do a face-to-face at the initial time. Okay.
All right. Before I welcome you on the program, I was talking about the cash scarcity, and of course, what led to this story is the fact that over the week, a federal court in Abuja released the former governor of CBN, Emefiele, and it was asked to drop 300 million naira as bail fine, and of course, remain in the Federal Capital Territory, and it was asked to submit some of his documents. But then looking back at his, let's say, his antecedents, and part of the major issues most Nigerians had with him was the Naira redesign, which of course caused a lot of ruckus on the POLITY. And then a year and a half later, we still have the same issue bothering on the POLITY, given that now, as of 3 weeks ago, it started back with cash scarcity, even though we don't know whether people are just scared that, oh, the December 31st rule might still take effect, even though CBN has actually come out to say, oh, we are on our way to court to, of course, revoke most of these rulings. And we've seen CBN revoke most of what the past administration had, even most of the policies. But then, to this effect, what do you think should be done differently, or what do you think should happen right now?
Well, first of all, I think we need to make a review to look backward and look inward, and also look afterwards. Why I said we need to look backward is we need to go back to the history of what happened, what really happened. Okay. There wasn't any justifiable measure to which President Muhammad Buhari, the former president, under his administration, the CBN governor just woke up and provided just a notice to Nigerians without even going to the National Assembly and following the due process for changing the Naira note, which really leads to a lot of many people even lost their lives. I have seen many people in the banks, because I can tell you practically what I saw. I think I was in Katsina, I was in Kano, I was in Kaduna then, and I was in Sokoto. So I can remember quickly 3 things that I saw. I saw a man that removed his clothes, entire clothes, remaining with only a short knicker, without even a singlet, and was begging people in the bank to please collect his national ID card, collect his workplace ID card, and collect his clothes, so they can give him some money to go and feed his family. In Katsina, I saw a man that removed his shoe, begging people around the bank to please help him, give him money so that he can transport himself back to his village, where he came from, simply because he has the money in his account. He spent the whole day and the bank closed, and yet he was unable to get the money. And still he complained that he has not eaten since morning. He has not had even a breakfast. He said he left their village around 4 a.m. arriving in Kazana and queuing in. He even paid money for somebody to stay on the queue for him ahead of his arrival, because he said he came for the 3rd day. It was for the 3rd day. So, and also in Kano, I saw someone that hold his car, crying with tears, an adult, crying. There is no fuel in his car. He had no money to go back home, and he left his family without even a breakfast. And he has millions of naira in his account. So that have really made it very difficult. Many of the state governments, federal government and local government have made the payment of the salaries. And even the private institutions, private agencies, and the individuals who have companies and who have staff, even the housemates in many cases have been paid. But for them to go and access the money so that they can cash it, so that they can use it, it will become very, very difficult. And when a National Assembly invited Emifele, at the instant he said he refused to come. He refused to show up. In fact, he sat in his office saying that what we are doing is right. Anybody who wants to fight me should come and fight me. And unfortunately, when they started fighting Emifele became like just a swollen rat. You know, when you swallow a rat and then you vomit it out, you know you don't expect that rat to move around. So that's kind. And why I said we should look inward, fortunately and unfortunately, during that era, it was at the pre-election campaign. So at that pre-election campaign, we saw politicians move around, because I still challenge them and I still ask this question. They were moving around to all their constituencies. Governors were moving to the local governments and other constituencies. State assembly members were campaigning, moving around everywhere. And they were moving with even huge convoy. So, and they were fueling. Even if you get to the fueling station, you have, if you don't have money, cash, they only give you the fuel. But fortunately, unfortunately, then politicians were moving around, buying fuel every day, and driving 300, 200, 180, 150 kilometers to go and campaign and come back. So how are they accessing those cash? And how are they getting access to that fuel?
So that means this policy is only affected some Nigerians.
Of course, it affected only me and you. Because it is me and you that are struggling to get it now and to get it later. We struggle to have our breakfast, then we come out, we struggle to get our lunch, then we also struggle to get our dinner. So those are the people that were affected, who are mostly more than 90% of the total population of the country.
And remember that most of the reasons where the former CBN governor gave was that he wanted it to be able to curb vote buying, and of course
I'm going there.
Did this actually
I'm going there. And still we have the DSS at the same time, those period. They challenge Emifele as alleged that he was having, he was party to, what do you call it, the terrorism. So they attempted arresting him. Fortunately and unfortunately, the guards around him were unable to allow the DSS to arrest him, and he kept, and even at the airport, he said, those who want to arrest me, they should come and arrest me. Those who want to fight me, they should come and fight me. Not until when he faced the real fight. At just within less than 30 seconds, Emifele became like a swollen rat. I keep repeating myself because of the unfortunate situation that happens. Really, President Muhammad Buhari's government was a big mess as far as Nigerians are concerned. The monetary policy of the administration have not really helped, especially during the second tenure. And at the same time, it was during those days we still saw a boom in the Bureau de Change, in Abuja, in Kano, in Lagos, and other places. At a time when you don't have access to Naira, but dollar becomes something so rampant, and people were exchanging it with Naira. So I keep asking myself and asking everybody, where is this Naira coming to the Bureau de Change? Because the only place where you will have access to Naira, even when the new notes came, is for you to go to the Bureau de Change. So how comes the banks don't have the money, but the Bureau de Change have it? And at the same time, I keep asking the question which I have not gotten the answer yet from either the CBN or from any of the financial agency. The total amount of the money claimed to have been printed by Emefiele, the CBN governor then, it's very simple for the DSS or any other law enforcement agencies to fast track it. Why? Because he said we have distributed this money to the commercial bank. So if you distributed this money, it means it's very easy. That money, then he started blaming the managing directors, the chief executives, the management of those commercial banks. The CBN started putting blame, trading blame on them. I ask questions which I don't have answer either from the commercial bank, neither from the CBN. And the questions are simply three. One, how much money did the CBN pushed to UBA, First Bank, GT, Union, and the rest? Where is the record? Because you cannot just put the money in the truck and ask the truck to move. Definitely there must be a logistic process. There must be a distributory process, which must have an inventory record, which must have how much meant for UBA and how much received by UBA. And on getting to UBA, you ask the managers and the management of the UBA or management of the GTB, management of the First Bank or any other bank, how much have you received and how do you distribute it to which branch? How much to Kano, how much to Yobe, how much to Adamawa, how much to Gombe, how much to Enugu, how much to Lagos, how much to Ikorodu, how much to Ikoyi, and Ebitome and the rest. So you find it very, very difficult. But fortunately, I saw the clash, the kind of political clash and administrative confusion between the DSS or all the law enforcement agencies. Whereas the Buhari himself, as the president of the country, when he was asked at the time, he said, I don't know what happened. Which is so really sad. If the whole president of the country answers that, I don't know what happened. Initially he said that Emefiele have given him every information and he directed him to go and print the money. And later when there was a huge pressure, he now turned back and said, I don't really know what happened.
But do you think that was the president trying to shy away from his duties because he saw the pressure that came on him?
Well, I don't think it's a pressure. Well, if you say it's a pressure, you know, recently last Sunday, Buhari, former President Buhari granted an interview. And when he granted that interview, 99.9% of those questions that he was asked, he has given a different answer, not the answer to the question that he was asked. So
that was what he during his administration.
Yes, so that was then.
I wouldn't have expected anything.
So it's simply because there was nothing good Nigerians saw in the administration. There was never a president that had the participation of even a wheelbarrow pusher, and even a date seller, even a newspaper seller contributed either 100 or above 100 for Buhari's campaign, because of a lot of confidence and trust as assumed that people had on him. So we have done, Nigerians have done everything possible to see Jonathan out of the system. But not later than 6 months, Nigerians started regretting, why did they brought Buhari? So he said, now you should exercise patience and wait. Nigerians waited patiently until they wasted 8 years. Because all the 8 years that has been spent by Buhari administration, you have nothing to write home about. So now, coming to the recent situation, of course, usually we Nigerians will have one simple attitude. You remember during the when Shagari was ousted and Buhari took over as a military head of state, there was also introduction of renewal of the money. Nigerians were given ultimatum a time for them to go to the CBN and other banks so that they can have their money replaced. But normally, when NIMSI also have given an ultimatum of a certain period, Nigerians refused. So it is in our attitude. Even during election, you see many people will go to their houses and relax. Not until when it is about closing the time, then people will rush. So that was what happened at the tail end of the before the court come in. So, and also before the National Assembly also ruled on the money policy, that the two will continue to work concurrently pending the position of the court, which was later since December 31st, if I'm right. So now, what is the reason I assumed to be what is really causing the chaos of what is happening now, the cash shortage. When you look at it in the last 11 to 18 days, there is cash scarcity in Kano, cash scarcity in Onitsha, most of the places where you have massive fund being traded. And but still, that money, as I checked, is available in Beirut change. Because if you go, you still see people bringing money in sacks. Ghana must go to the Beirut change, and they are collecting hard currencies. So I wonder, when there is scarcity in Kwari in Kano, but there is still money available in what do you call it, Fage, where you have the Beirut changes. When there is scarcity in the banks, in Wuse Market, in Dede, in Suleja, and the rest of the markets in Abuja, but you still have the money at Zone 4, where most of the Beirut change offices are. So now, when government, one court...
But it can still be considered as cash scarcity, because the Beirut change is not a legal bank where everybody can go to and say, oh, we want cash.
But where is the source? Where is the source of the cash that is coming to the Beirut change?
Those people have day-to-day activities with people, of course. If you say,
but what I'm saying is, those who are coming to change the money, where are they coming with it from? Don't we have? Remember that. Don't we have law enforcement agencies? Don't we have intelligence? Don't we have intelligence mechanism to fast track where this naira is coming from? When you don't have the same naira notes that has been printed or is being printed by Security, Military and Printing, which is government agency, and still you don't have this money in the CBN and you don't have it in the commercial banks, but you still have it on the streets.
So that means that something is
wrong, something is fishy. And one of the reasons is many people are panicking, are rushing, so that they can have their money changed. They can have their money in the bank, probably. Bank have started withdrawing the old notes. But yet, they refuse to massively boom the new notes.
Okay, you're speaking about...
So, Emefiele has now been asked to pay a certain ransom. Even though I know if he is going to pay, he is not going to pay cash. He is going to pay through either transfer or a certified check, bank check from one of his banks, or maybe from one of his associates. Because probably he may say that, you remember, Emefiele become a pastor after asking, saying that anybody who want to fight me should come and fight me. So later, when I saw Emefiele one of the days coming out of the courts, I saw him with a Bible without even a slippers.
Well, just like they say, Nigeria would humble you sometimes. But then let's say that's let's quickly rush through most of the recent happenings in polity, as our topic today is obviously Week in Review. Something that's been bothering, I like to use the word hot cake on the polity, is the Kano State verdict that happened during the week, and the certified true copy, of course, made it a special, or was a special guest appearance for this week, where we had issues, and then the appellate court has said it was clerical error. And then I read something before you came in the studio where Lateef Fagbemi, the senior advocate of Nigeria, has said this thing is not something that can just easily go back to the court and say, oh, you are rectifying, it's just a clerical error, it's a cleric that probably mistyped something. And I remember one of the guests I had yesterday in Polity said something about, when you talk about clerical error, you talk about you use the wrong word, or you mistyped something. For instance, I want to say, oh, you left, and I say you went. That can be considered as clerical error. But in this case, in reverse is the case. I'd like to get your own analysis, because there's been lots of ruckus on the polity about this particular judgment. I'm
really happy that you brought this issue as part of our discussion, and I'm really happy for the question you asked. I want to make it very clear for our viewers and our listeners to know that I'm an indigenous of Kano State.
Oh, that's nice.
And I am a partisan politician, by the way, but no, not really a partisan, rather a professional. But notwithstanding, you know, one thing that we need to revert back is, one, who's supposed to be a judge? What was the procedure for someone to be a judge? Is it only by acquiring a university CGPA or by acquiring a university certificate that you are a graduate of law that you just become a lawyer? The answer is no. You have to go through certain process. One of these processes is you have to go to school, a law school, one of the law schools,
Nigeria,
where code of conduct, procedures, you will be retrained and also refined, and also a kind of confined to the guidance and principles of implementation of principles of law. So I really wonder. Yes, of course. I taught in American College of Arabic and Islamic and Arabic and Legal Studies. That is AXIL, sometimes back about 20 years back. So yes, of course, I did not teach law because I'm not lawyer by profession, but I'm a linguist. But someone that is very, very have keen interest in anybody, any professional that I'm associating myself with. Because I could remember even during my days at university, during my first degree, many of those who attended the university, their assumption is I'm a pharmaceutical or engineering student, because you always see me with a lab coat, somebody who was reading Arabic literature. But in many cases, you see me in the laboratory of the those who are studying biological sciences, medicine, pharmacy, at the workshop of the engineering, architecture, and the rest. So many people were confused, not until much later. Some were asking me on the street when we meet or at the airport or somewhere else, I thought you are an engineer. I would say, no, I wasn't an engineer. I read Arabic. It was that time when I was teaching at that American College of Islamic and Legal Studies. I was very keen asking the lawyers, the teaching lawyers, about some of the principles of their subjects. So I wonder if a lawyer could rise from level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4, level 5 to spend 5 years in university. Even if you are pushing a donkey for 5 years, that donkey could have understand very clear why is the route to the wrong ditch and why is the route to the right path. But this one not a donkey, this is a human being. You are pushing, you are training, not pushing, and not following with cane, not following with cable, and not following with fire, and not under duress, at his own convenience. He will sit down and write tests. He will write assignments. He will go to the court for practice and became magistrate. And after being magistrate, he became a certified lawyer from the university. And then he is sent to professional environment of law school to have obtained information and knowledge on ethics and culture of working in a court, and became recognized and later became promoted. It's not just when you come out of law school or when you come out from the university that you will be posted to court of appeal. You have to acquire certain experience at a different level of court sessions, at a different level of bench before you, and you also be tested, interviewed, and your background of experience must be checked by senior advocates and other senior serving and retired professional and expert on legal among the legal knowledge. They are the ones that will certify you to be one of the court of appeal judges, and you became the court of appeal judge. And the paper on the judgment is only 1 page, and the assumption is any judge is expected to quote from any part of the 500 or more than 500 pages of the Nigerian Constitution and other legal documents. And even if it means that the judgment from the tribunal, even the tribunal have exposed Nigerian legal system that they lack some certain level of credibility, because you cannot just come and say anybody who is wearing in Kano, those who are wearing red cap, they are bandits and terrorists. 99.9% of our white heads are wearing red cap before they put turban. They are not using black cap, it's red. 99.9% of our district head are using red cap. 99.9% of the Islamic scholars who are sitting in their own room, people coming to learn Islamic studies from them, they are using cap. More than 90% of the old-aged people in northern Nigeria, once people became aged, they remove all type of caps and keep it aside, and they will be using as a significance, as important as it is in northern Nigeria, red cap. If you insult anybody, if you say somebody is terrorist, somebody is bandits, you are not only abusing the party members of the NNPP, because they would have been able to qualify. That is why I disqualified those tribunal lawyers, because I'm still waiting, I'm still wondering why Nigerian Bar Association have not disqualified and cancelled their license. Because
that's a lot of error. I mean,
it's a big one. You cannot, and they write, the tribunal lawyers, the tribunal judges, also they wrote, they put it in writing, and they affected their signature. If you don't know, I have many friends among the judges, and I have been going to them at different levels, and I saw that they are so stingy. They don't allow anybody to have access to three things. No matter how close associate you may be. One, their stamp is really confidential. Two, the pen they are using. And three, they don't allow anybody to see them when they are writing their signature, so that it will not be copied or something stolen. They make sure that they do their signature when your eye is away, and if you are looking at it, they will even warn you, even if you are their friends. So I wonder that those tribunal guys does this mistake. Now coming to the Court of Appeal. I wonder, I am shocked, I become surprised. On one page, you repeated, you provided a different confusing judgment, and at the same time, a whole paragraph was misinterpreted. Where is, as far as I'm concerned, those judges supposed to be, you know, there is difference between a judge. Even in the medical profession, there is ANT, that is ENT, sorry, ear, throat, and nose. There are those who ophthalmologists. There are those who specialize on psychologists, medical psychologists,
dentists,
general medicine, gynecologists, and the rest. So I wonder, even in the legal system, I expect from the time they made this pronouncement and from the time they asked the lawyers of the NNPP to bring back the certified copy, I assume by now the Nigerian Bar Association, the NJC, that is Nigerian Judiciary Council, and Federal Judiciary Commission, and all the agencies under the Federal Ministry of Justice and the Ministry of Justice could have seized their certificate and license from operating and quickly transfer them to what do you call it, psychiatric, because there is kind of explanation that there is something is missing in their brain. Nancy, I want to tell you, you know, they conducted this judgment in a court of law, in their own office, not under duress by either somebody wanted to shoot them, not in a circumstance whereby his wife dressed very well, she did a different makeup, she put what we call jambaki, you know, as when you have an eloquent young lady dressed around you, and maybe she is moving, you will say that, no, by the time I was signing, yes, I was moved by that girl. So what even brought that girl around you? And what even brought whatever you have in your psychology, that as a lawyer, as a high court, a court of appeal judge, you will pick your pen that is highly confidential. You affect signature, which means you have read through. And it doesn't mean that the mistake is one word or one syllable. You know, I told you I happen to be a linguist.
Yeah.
So I know when you are constructing a sentence, you have about 7 items. You have letters. You have 2 letters that may make a word. And even among the letters, even among the words, you have what is called syllables. And even when pronouncing them, there is phonological and morphological and synthetic aspect of it that you're supposed to know how to pronounce it, even the words. But in this circumstance of the mistake, or what they said as a mistake, because for me, I didn't accept it as clerical error. Hey, when a clerk printed a document, I happens to be to hate security investigation and the operations activities of many of the US or US government operations in Nigeria. And whenever I receive a mail, even if it is one paragraph, even if it is one word, I will go through it before I affect my signature. I'm not a lawyer. I don't know the implication too much. But anybody who is a legal lawyer, anybody who is a judge at the court of appeal, and I assume it is I even heard that some of them will soon be interviewed as a Supreme Court judges. So which means it's a clear compromise. It's a very clear compromise. Something is fishy. I don't know. I'm not a judge, so I'm not judging. But I'm making assertions, and based on assumptions, and based on reasons, and based on facts, and based on figures, and based on reality. Paragraph 1, only 5 paragraphs on the judgment, only 1 page, only 5 paragraphs, and still you cannot. I think there is need to go and even check on their wives in their houses.
All right.
And even the clerical officer who masterminded the process. I don't know whether he's a pastor or a malam, that he prayed so much after collecting something. I don't know. I'm not saying bribe, but something is fishy.
All right. I like the fact that you've just completed it with something is fishy. But then another thing to look out for is the fact that they've said they are moving to the Supreme Court, and I bet no party is going to let go of this easily. And I wish we'd add more time to, of course, analyze this. But then would like to bring you back next week to analyze this, and let's see what has happened between now and next week on this Kano case. Sure. So thank you very much, Dr. Yahuza.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me. Thank you, viewers.
Thank you, our viewers at home, for joining us on the Polity Today. This is where we draw the curtains for the Polity Today, and not just today, this week. Thank you to our backstage guys, the master control room guys, and of course the producers of the Polity from Monday to Friday, and of course the presenters Amadi Ogbewe and myself. This is where I round it up for today. See you same time, same station next week. I remain Messi Babajide. Bye.